I want to connect with you 4 different steps you can utilize right now in this moment to really activate that ability to live without limits. And when I say live without a limit, that's not to say that we're not going to encounter challenge. That's not to say that there are not structures in place that sometimes make us feel like it's a little harder to express and to move and to stretch. But what it does mean is that we are not allowing a ceiling or a lid to be placed on top of us in any moment. We can accept the moment as we're striving for more, but we are truly experiencing and visualizing our lives without that lid that blocks our crown, without that ceiling that creates a limitation or a perceived limitation, sometimes showing up as our own thoughts. That's what we're really looking to dive into and savor in this moment. So, the first step in limitless living is get curious. Get curious about yourself. And when I say get curious about yourself, I really mean at both the micro and macro level. We want to get granular about what our foundation was and be as honest with ourselves as possible about the deepest truth of it so that we can transcend it. So we think in terms of the culturally created self versus the authentic self. And let's dive into a little bit what each of those terms actually means. So the culturally created self, that's the version of us that has been shaped by society. That's the version of us that has been shaped by our family systems. And as with everything, there's duality. There's the yin and the yang, the light and the dark and the light. There are always going to be opposites and reversals for the things that we experience. But when we get a chance to really look at them through eyes that are not in judgment of our experience, that are just curious about our experience, we have the opportunity to not just transcend the experience and move forward, but we have the opportunity to actually turn all of those experiences into the fuel that will guide and unleash the fullness of our dharma. And dharma in Sanskrit is loosely translated as purpose, but it also means deepest truth, the deepest truth of your life that is available to you. So as we come into that curiosity, we just begin to investigate. And when I say investigate, it really is separating yourself from the judgment of the experience or how you wished it would have played out. And really looking at it with, how did that happen? Why did that happen? What is the deeper meaning of that? What is the connection to my lineage, to perhaps my ancestry? What are the things that I'm picking up in this tapestry, the smaller weavings? And really looking at them with a sharp, discerning eye and not an eye of, why has this happened to me? Which is valid because so many things happen to us without our direct consent, starting from the moment we arrive here. But when we come into that space, if we can switch the lens into that curiosity, there's so much room for freedom and there's so much room to step into the mastery of who you are. So the culturally created self versus the authentic self, a great way to experience those two is in a moment that you might feel charge coming up, asking, what part of me is reacting to this? Is it my highest self, the version of myself that is connected to my wholeness, my worthiness in every moment? Or is it the culturally created version of me that is in comparative mode? I am experiencing my life based on how it measures up to other lives or how it measures up to other experiences or how it measures up to the stories that I've told myself or the way that I've experienced myself. So that little investigation creates such a tremendous amount of opportunity for expansion. And we'll get to that a little more deeply in step 4. But as we sit in that beautiful space, that curiosity, what you're really looking to invoke, and it may feel good to write this down so you can remember, even the lens of joyful curiosity can be a great use of kind of that diving in and that investigation. But you're really looking to excavate, which is kind of carve out and bring forward, and also investigate every thought and every belief. Sometimes we get scared to investigate our beliefs because we think it is disloyal, either to our family system, either to different versions of ourselves that we've been. Or society as a whole. Or we get nervous about, well, what will I believe if I don't believe that? How will I connect if that is not my centerpiece? But what's really important is so many of our beliefs were just placed upon us and used as tools at various levels of our development. But when we get to investigate them and really look and say, does this still feel true? Does this feel nourishing? Does this feel like the loving way to live? Then we get to refine for ourselves and choose. And sometimes it will be, yeah, I'm going to carry forth that tradition. That feels really good. Or, yeah, I actually really got a great foundation of that knowing, of that belief, of that understanding of faith or psychology. And sometimes it's, wow, that really limited me. Being told to think in this way, being told to believe in this way, viewing life through maybe good and bad, viewing life through punishment and reward. I don't think that fits who I want to be in this moment. And so we just get to be in choice. What we're really looking to do in the step one of living this limitless life is get curious so that we can always stand in choice and be able in each moment to decide for ourselves where we want to go, who we want to be, what we want to do. So that's step one, limitless living. Step two is start noticing the themes and the patterns in your life. I know now so many of us are getting deeply connected to some of the deeper work, and something that is shared really powerfully and beautifully on the Almost 30 podcast are so many different tools, a multitude, a variety of ways to explore yourself spiritually, ways to explore what your life purpose and meaning is. So getting things done like your birth chart or your Enneagram or your human design or all of the tools where you can really investigate what is my unique blueprint, that can be really powerful. What can also be really powerful is taking time to just jot down the memories that have stuck with you. You can do this in a journal. You can do this in a voice note. Does not have to be Dear Diary style. It can also be quick bullet points as they come to you. Again, always experiencing them through the lens of non-judgment and through the lens of curiosity. But start investigating yourself. That same skill set that you might put towards Instagram for the person that you're dating or the person that you're not talking to anymore, let's apply that same finely tuned, beautiful investigative ability to our actual souls and our spirits. Let's get granular. Let's get our notebooks out. Let's create that book of self and keep track of our feelings. Keep track of how we want to feel, how we want to be, and also notice and honor all the versions of ourselves that we were before this one, because those pieces are worthy too. So noticing the themes and patterns means keep notes on yourself. Even the notes that you feel like you might be embarrassed of in the future. Maybe you're having a day where you're really angry, really upset, but you don't want to note it down because you don't want to be perceived as an angry or upset person, or you don't want someone to find it and maybe think ill of you. Those are all limiting thoughts. When we want to live a limitless life, our first concern is how we feel and how we can expand and love ourselves at the deepest level possible. So that also means being willing to witness ourselves in those moments that society told us we shouldn't express and shouldn't feel. So noticing the themes and the patterns, keep notes on yourself, keep a notebook of you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Morning Microdose by Almost 30.
We hope you enjoyed waking up.
As always, we encourage you to take what resonates and leave the rest. If you enjoyed this trip, tune into the full episode on the Almost 30 podcast. All episode information can be found in the show notes.
Make sure to subscribe, and if this becomes a part of your morning routine, be sure to share it with a friend. We have new inspiring doses Monday through Friday. Follow us on Instagram at Morning Microdose, and follow Almost 30 at Almost 30 Podcast.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the vortex.